This is the Cordova, Alaska airport. It is August 2025. Gary, Brian, Matt, and myself have flown in to the Merrill Mudhole Smith Airport in Cordova. He was an aviator in Alaska, and so the airport is named after him. This is a map of where we are and where we're going to be. It shows Cordova, Copper River, Bering Glacier, Sayou River where the lodge is, and the Kaliak River. Tom and Katie picked us up at the airport, Alaska Wilderness Outfitters, as we came into town. They brought us to the Reluctant Fisherman. Brian shows us where we are. This is the hotel that we stayed at for the very first night. This is the look, or the view outside the hotel of Prince William Sound. You can see that this is a fishing village. Everything here is geared towards fishing, commercial and sport fishing. All of the fishing is regulated by the Alaska Fish and Game people, and they can fish certain times of year for different types of fish. Set up this little hat so that we would all have something to wear and remember this trip by. This salmon sculpture in the Reluctant Fisherman dining room, or the bar, is made of all copper pennies. I got this because the Copper River, again, is south of us, and they used to mine a lot of copper there. Here we are at the airport, getting ready to head south to the fishing camp. We put Matt in the front seat, and the three of us sat in the back seat, kind of snug quarters, but we got it. And then Brian, on the way back, got to sit back there. But this is an opportunity for us to fly 100 miles south, and at about 100 miles per hour and at about 600 feet in altitude, to get down to the camp where we were going to go fishing. Once we were airborne, this is the Copper River just outside of town as we head towards the Sayou River camp. This is kind of the terrain, what it looked like, the country. We flew right down along the edge of the ocean over the beach. We saw one sow, grizzly bear, and a cub, but we didn't see much wildlife after that. We didn't see any deer, we didn't see any moose, but it was pretty neat. As we go across this country, you can see it's very low and flat, swampy and wet, but very, very green. I guess they'd had enough rain this year to sustain all this vegetation. These are icebergs that come from the Bering Glacier as it falls apart and floats downriver on the Copper River and the other tributaries that are around there. Pretty neat. This is our final approach into the landing strip at camp, and you can see as we come in. This landing strip is not maintained during the year. This lodge is only open August, September, and October. After the fishing is done in October, they button it all up, they winterize it, shut it down. Everything in this camp has to be brought in by airplane. There is no road down here, there is no boat ramp to bring it in. So everything comes in by these airplanes. The fuel, the propane, the food, all of the waste goes out. There's no garbage here because of the bears. So once we get on the ground, here comes our four-wheeler with a cart that's going to round us up and get all of our gear and take us back to the main camp. The main camp consists of a very large and comfortable lodge. Here's the front of it, and you can see the solar panels that provide extra electricity so they don't have to run the generator during the day. And then you can see the antennas that allow for a hotspot so we could communicate once we got inside there. Only in the lodge, though, could you communicate. This is one of the 6 or so cabins that they have. They're 2-story cabins. They're very comfortable. These are all set up for the fishermen. But to get down to the cabin, you had to stroll, you had to walk down there, and this is us headed down to our cottage, our cabin. On the way, we found these black slugs. I have absolutely no idea how they survive the winter, but there they are, running around, well, crawling around. Also, we found some wild strawberries. We didn't find out until we got back to Cordova that these strawberries were edible. We didn't know that at the time. I was a little leery about trying to eat one of them. Then there were these red berries, which I never found out what they were or why they were there, but I mean, they're there because they're wild. But we never ate them. Here we are on the inside of our cabin. You can see there's a common area that was very comfortable. You could sit and take a break, kind of catch up and visit. No TV, no communications while you were there in this cabin. The shower is behind that wall that you see where the coat rack is. There's a small little kitchenette with a coffee pot and a table to sit down. We played some cards here in the evening. Now this is the upstairs where the bedrooms are. There's 3 bedrooms up here. The first bedroom here on the left, Gary is set up there. He's got his bag and he's getting squared away, getting settled in. The next bedroom is mine, my bag, and very comfortable. They have a heater downstairs. And then here's the other bedroom where Matt and Brian stayed. This was an opportunity for me to do something with my sons-in-law, and this fishing trip worked out really well. This is the main lodge. This is the second floor where the hot spot is, where the kitchen is, and where the dining area is. Everybody came here for breakfast and for the evening meal. Lunch was brought to us by one of the fishing guides out to where we were fishing, and so we had lunch out next to the river, which was very nice, very comfortable. Again, here there's a sitting area, comfortable area, and then there's some beer and soda that were available, a couple of snacks while we were sitting there waiting for dinner. This is the front porch, very comfortable, but it was raining and kind of misty the whole time we were there except for one day, and so we didn't sit out there. This t-shirt that I'm wearing, my granddaughter Harper picked out for me. Since we were fishing, she thought this was perfect for me, so I put it on just for her. This is the view out the front porch out to the Pacific Ocean. Pretty country, very green. You can see how green and moist it is. Here we are on the very first day. This is how we got around, these little four-wheelers, and the cart behind us, behind it, would carry the fishermen, all the fishing gear, the fishing rods, etc., and then we would go from place to place to place fishing, depending upon how good the fishing was. This is the backdrop. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. The mountains were there, just absolutely gorgeous the whole time we were there. This is the very first fish. Matt got his line in the water before anybody else.
Get him, Matt. Get him. You gotta jump again. See him moving over here? Got my gloves. Yeah. Oh, he's gonna run again. Get him. Here he comes.
Oh, yeah.
Look at you.
That does not suck.
That's a nice fish here, too.
Yeah. Okay, first fish, you're going to have to come over here. Oh, man, he is nice.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah. You're going to have to stand there with him.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Hey, bud.
The game warden. Ready? Picture time. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Now, once the fish were caught,
Well,
it was
I have
Buck's job as the guide to fillet these fish and clean them up while we were still in the field. These rigs were really set up for this. They had 2 buckets up that they always kept on the front on this cutting board as we traveled from point A to point B. And Buck would get the fish up here. He would fillet them out, and all of the waste, the guts, the head, everything else went into a separate bucket. And that bucket was there to hold on to that waste. You didn't want to leave it out on where we were fishing because the seagulls would find it and they would be all over you. So you couldn't fish if you had seagulls flying all over you. They would just be everywhere. So all of the waste went into that bucket. And then the cleaned filleted fish ended up in another bucket. The fish were, to the best of Buck's ability, filleted. They were deboned. Here he's trying to take most of the bones off of it. And I think he probably got about 90-95% of the bones. But once we got the fish back home and we started cooking it, we found out there was still enough bones in it, so you had to be very careful about what you were eating and get the bones out of it. Now the piece that has the tail on it was usually more bone-free than the piece up at the front, up where the gills were and the rib cage and that. But all of that was done very well, and I think they did a really good job. Now here's the clean fish. Once that was all prepared, now we gathered up a bunch of that fish and had it for dinner that night. This is Gary catching his fish.
Well done.
But you can see we all caught fish. This is Brian. I don't have him catching one. I regret that. But here's one of the nice fish that he caught. This is the area in the back of the lodge where we came back in at the end of each day. We fished all day long and then would come back at the end of the day, bring the rig in. We would use this hose with fresh water to wash off your waders and your boots to get all the sand and the salt water off of them. Then you'd take them in and put them in the hot room where they would hang and dry overnight and be nice and dry, ready to go the next day for the next fishing event. Buck was really good. I thought he was a good guide. He took good care of us. He was anxious, or I mean, was very willing to help us out. We fished in a lot of different places.
Flies. Buck's getting set up to clean some fish here. Matt cast 2, I got 1. Matt's trying to move away from the flies, but we were just notified that he's at the edge of limits here for safety for bears, because they could pop up. As long as we can get there with the ATV faster than the bear gets to Matt, he's great.
This is a look out again of the backdrop. Brian had his picture taken. It's a good picture of him. You can see how thick the brush was around us. This is the paths that these guys used to get us from point A to point B. again, we moved quite often. The river was full of fish. Everywhere you went, there were fish. But they just weren't biting all the time. This is a resupply plane. Again, everything had to be flown in and flown out. No trash was left. Everything was taken. This was bear sign. We saw fresh bear sign every day, but we never saw any bears. But we know they were in and out of there. This is a picture of the Sayou River looking downstream, down where it drains out and goes into the Pacific Ocean. We would fish an area. Once the fish stopped biting and we just couldn't catch anymore and they just weren't paying any attention, even though they were there, you know they were there, we would move from place to place. Now Matt caught this little halibut. I don't know how in the world that happened, but he ended up hooking up this little halibut and bringing him in. This was just kind of a comedy thing where we caught this little fish, but Matt was working hard at it. I mean, he really worked hard. He was always throwing things around. Buck is cleaning more fish, which is a good sign because we were catching fish, and that was a good sign. But we kept moving. Now here I am. I ran out of gas a couple of times and just had to sit and take life easy and kind of catch my breath. Maybe I'm waiting for lunch here. Here's another spot that we moved to. Again, if the fish stopped biting, then we would move and try another spot. And we fished a lot of these places the same over and over and over again. You can see how hard I'm working at this, but I enjoyed. I got tired. My back would hurt, and I just needed to sit for a while. But you see, I'm not throwing this lure very far because the fish would actually bite up close. I mean, just literally off the bank sometimes. But I threw that bait and cranked it so many times, by the time we were finished, I could hardly move my left arm after we finished fishing and headed back home, just because I'd cranked that bait so many times. Here's Matt. He'd found a pair of waders back at the main camp, and he got really brave. You can see the water in the river is only about 3 or 4 feet deep. No matter where we went, it just wasn't very deep, so it was great for the fish to move into. Here's Gary and I. You can see the guys who have all the knowledge here.
Got him. That's a pretty one, Tom.
Yeah, female though, isn't it?
I think so. Female.
Very good. Hallelujah.
Success.
I got a fish.
Tom's not skunked today.
Again, this is the very last spot that we fished on the Sayou River. The tide has gone out, and you can see how fast the current is running, allowing the water that had come in with the high tide. This little boat that's there belongs to the commercial fishermen. They're allowed by the state to come in and fish this river during certain times of the year or the certain times of the day. They can't put nets out all day long, but they come in and they set up and they fish a couple hours, I think, at night. But you can see how fast the water is running. There's seals out there catching the salmon as they come in, and the salmon were flooding in. You could see them coming in. Matt catches a nice one down there. Brian caught another nice one. I think Gary caught one. I did not. I didn't catch one down there. I kind of hooked a couple, or at least had a couple of strikes, and they just didn't stay on. But we caught fish. Here we are. This is a group picture. This is a good picture. That's blood running down the side of mine where the gills were pulled out. That's the first thing they did, was pull the gills out. But this is a commercial fisherman, and you can see the low tide. He's bellied out, and they had little ATVs, and they ran around all over the place. We ran into them several different times.
Okay, the last 2 fish of the trip. There's Gary. What do you think, Gary?
Great fishing trip.
Great fishing trip. You heard it from Gary. Matt's not done yet. He's down there trying to get his last one.
I have no idea how many fish we brought back today. 8, 9, 10, maybe.
We got like 5 today.
think you got, how many did you get, Matt? Three?
I got one. Gary got 3. Well, that's better than 10.
Yeah. Not bad.
And then there was a couple back here. Oh, y'all are counting those too. Okay.
We've had all the fun we can take. We're getting ready now to load up and get out of here. Again, all of our gear gets loaded onto the plane. We get it all squared away. Here comes another plane that's got more fishermen to take our place. We were the very first people that fished in the lodge for the season. And so everything was new for us. We're getting ready to take off here, and as we get up into the air and we make a turn over the Kaliak River, you can see the front of the lodge underneath the wing. And there's the front of the lodge. Once we got back to Cordova, Brian and Matt went down to this little museum that's down there that talks a little bit about the area. Some of the fishing, some of the things that they do, some of the wildlife. There's actually a wolverine here that was stuffed and mounted and in that museum.
Okay, last day in Cordova. I'm here on the dock, looking around. Pretty neat. That's the town and the hills back there. They call this back there Orca Inlet. That's the view to the north. And then these are where they call them tinder boats are parked. That black one right there's the Wizard. Probably those other ones out there are also from Deadliest Catch, is what I'm told. I can't read anything on it though. I'm looking this way, it's Prince William Sound, and then the Pacific Ocean way out over there, kind of looking to the south. And then this is town. Really cool. To get out to the Cordova airport, you got to drive through that little pass between those two hills, and then there's some flat land on the Copper River. So really amazing. Big lake back over there where the float planes land, and then this is a big commercial fishing facility here where they pack all the fish. Tons of workers. Apparently back around that way, up Orca Inlet, there's some super secret deep water port being built for military purposes or something. Very, very cool though.
So we've had all the fun we can take. We load up on Alaska Airlines, and our first stop from Cordova is Anchorage. in Anchorage, Matt took off and left us, and he went back to San Diego. He only had a short layover. We had about an 8-hour layover, so we hooked up with a friend of mine, Kurt Burrows. Kurt lives in the little town of Wasilla, Alaska, just right outside of Anchorage. This is his house. He owned a business that had to do with weights and measures. It was a scale business. So he had service trucks that would go around and service all the scales that he had and make sure that they were, working properly and weighing the right things. This is his shed or garage or whatever you want to call it, and where he has all of his trophies. You can see Kurt's quite the hunter. He's hunted literally around the world in different places, and he's got all of his trophies set up in here. But you can see that he's hunted in North America. He's hunted in Alaska, of course. He's hunted in Africa, and he's hunted all over Europe. So he's done quite the extensive hunt. We hunted together in Kyrgyzstan, like I said. Here we are. We all went out to dinner, had a great dinner. Then he took us back so we could catch the airplane from Anchorage back down to Slow. Here we are in San Luis Obispo, Gary and I, with 100 pounds of fresh salmon. Matt took 50 pounds home, so we had a great trip.